Captain Elias Grant had seen his fair share of strange worlds. As a seasoned explorer for the Galactic Frontier Corps, he had charted uncharted territories, encountered bizarre alien species, and survived more close calls than he could count. But nothing could have prepared him for what awaited him on Zephyria 9, a lush, vibrant planet deep in the Andromeda Galaxy. It was supposed to be a routine mission. Elias and his crew were tasked with surveying Zephyria 9 for potential colonization. The planet's atmosphere was breathable, its resources abundant, and its climate ideal. But as Elias stepped out of the shuttle, he felt an odd unease. The air was thick with the scent of exotic flowers, and the dense jungle around him seemed to pulse with life. He ordered his crew to stay close, but within hours, disaster struck. A sudden storm rolled in, unlike anything Elias had ever seen. The winds howled like enraged beasts, and the rain fell in blinding sheets. In the chaos, Elias became separated from his crew. He stumbled through the jungle, his communicator crackling with static. By the time the storm subsided, he was hopelessly lost. The encounter, Elias wandered for days, surviving on ration packs and the occasional fruit he dared to eat. The jungle was teeming with life, bioluminescent plants, strange creatures that chirped and hissed, and rivers that glowed faintly under the twin moons. But there was no sign of his crew or the shuttle. On the 5th day, Elias stumbled upon something that made his heart race. Footprints. They were humanoid, but larger than any he had seen, with a distinctive three-toed shape. He followed the trail cautiously, his hand resting on the blaster at his side. The trail led him to a clearing where he froze in shock. Before him stood a group of towering alien women. They were at least 7 feet tall, with muscular, athletic builds and skin that shimmered like polished bronze. Their hair was long and wild, adorned with feathers and beads, and their eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. They carried spears and bows, their movements graceful yet predatory. Elias raised his hands in a gesture of peace, but the women reacted instantly. They surrounded him, their spears pointed at his chest. One of them, clearly the leader, stepped forward. She was even taller than the others, her presence commanding. She studied him with a mix of curiosity and suspicion. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice deep and resonant. To Elias's surprise, she spoke in a language he could understand, though her words were slightly accented. "Captain Elias Grant," he replied, keeping his voice steady. "I mean no harm. I'm lost and separated from my crew." The leader tilted her head, her glowing eyes narrowing. "You are not from this world." "No," Elias admitted. "I came from Earth, far from here. I was surveying this planet when I got separated from my team." The women exchanged glances, murmuring among themselves in their native tongue. Finally, the leader nodded. "You will come with us. Our queen will decide your fate." The Amazonian city. Elias had no choice but to comply. The women, whom he learned were called the Zephyrians, led him through the jungle to their city. It was a breathtaking sight. The city was built into the trees, with towering wooden structures connected by rope bridges and vines. The Zephyrians moved with ease, leaping from platform to platform, their strength and agility awe-inspiring. The Queen's Palace was the largest structure, a massive treehouse adorned with carvings and glowing crystals. Inside, Elias was brought before the Queen herself. She was even more imposing than the others, her presence radiating authority. Her name was Nyxera, and she regarded Elias with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. "Why have you come to our world, outsider?" she asked, her voice echoing through the chamber. Elias explained his mission, emphasizing that he meant no harm. Nyxera listened intently, her expression unreadable. When he finished, She stood and approached him, her gaze piercing. "You are the first male to set foot on our world in centuries," she said. "Our society is one of women, strong and self-sufficient. Men are not welcome here." Elias swallowed hard. "I understand. If you help me find my crew, we'll leave and never return." Nixera studied him for a long moment. "Perhaps," she said finally. "But first, you must prove your worth." The trials. Elias was given no time to rest. Nixera declared that he must undergo a series of trials to prove his strength, courage, and intelligence. If he succeeded, he would earn the Zephyrians' trust and their assistance. If he failed, he would be banished to the jungle, left to fend for himself. The first trial was a test of strength. Elias was pitted against one of the Zephyrian warriors in hand-to-hand combat. Though he was outmatched in size and strength, Elias used his agility and quick thinking to outmaneuver his opponent, earning a grudging respect from the onlookers. The second trial was a test of courage. Elias was sent into the jungle to retrieve a rare flower that grew deep in the territory of a dangerous predator. Armed with only a spear, he faced the creature, a massive six-legged beast with razor-sharp claws. After a harrowing battle, Elias emerged victorious, the flower in hand. The final trial was a test of intelligence. Elias was presented with a complex puzzle, a series of interconnected crystals that had to be aligned in a specific pattern. Drawing on his knowledge of engineering, he solved the puzzle, impressing even Nixera. The revelation. Having passed the trials, Elias was granted an audience with Nixera. To his surprise, she seemed almost pleased. "You have proven yourself, Captain Grant," she said. "But there is something you must know." She led him to a hidden chamber beneath the palace, where a massive holographic map of the galaxy was displayed. Nixera explained that the Zephyrians were not native to Zephyria. 9. Centuries ago, they had fled their homeworld to escape a tyrannical regime that sought to enslave them. They had chosen Zephyria 9 for its isolation and had built a society free from the influence of men. "But we are not alone," Nixera said. "The regime that pursued us still exists, and they will stop at nothing to find us. Your arrival here may have already alerted them." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. "What can I do to help?" Nixera smiled faintly. "You have already proven your worth. If you are willing, we would have you as an ally in the battles to come." The alliance. Elias agreed to help the Zephyrians, and together they devised a plan to protect Zephyria. 9. Using his knowledge of technology, Elias helped the Zephyrians fortify their defenses and establish communication with the Galactic Frontier Corps. In return, the Zephyrians shared their knowledge of the jungle and its resources, aiding Elias in his mission. Over time, Elias grew close to the Zephyrians, particularly Nixera. Despite their differences, they found common ground in their shared sense of duty and honor. Nixera, who had once viewed men as a threat, began to see Elias as a trusted friend, and perhaps something more. The ending. Months later, Elias stood on the edge of the jungle, watching as a Galactic Frontier Corps ship descended from the sky. His crew had finally found him, and it was time to return home. But as he prepared to leave, Nixera approached him. "You do not have to go," she said, her voice soft. "You have a place here among us." Elias hesitated. He had grown to love Zephyria 9 and its people, but he knew his duty lay elsewhere. "I can't stay," he said regretfully, "but I promise I'll return. And until then, you have my word that the Galactic Frontier Corps will stand with you." Nixera nodded, her expression unreadable. "Then go with our blessing, Captain Grant, and know that you will always have a home here." As the ship carried him away, Elias looked down at the jungle below, a bittersweet feeling in his chest. He had come to Zephyria 9 as a lost explorer, but he was leaving as a hero and a friend. And though he didn't know what the future held, he knew one thing for certain. His journey was far from over.